The appointed time of the final meeting came to pass. Those who believed and obeyed their Messiah Jesus were saved from the wrath of God coming upon Jerusalem, for they had been warned according to Jesus' words, who said to them, "But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know that its desolation is near. So let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains." Some manuscripts mention that those who received the Messiah called Christians were warned to flee to Pella in the Decapolis region across the Jordan. It was a fulfillment of the Jesus prophetic parables of the wheat and the tares, and also the sheep and the goats, to open the eyes of his own who received him and followed him. The time of rejoicing in the Feast of Tabernacles can be found in direct relation to celebrations of marriages and wedding feasts, where rejoicing in tents. These were traditional and typical celebrations in the Middle East, where we see in the tabernacles a picture of the marriage of the Lamb. This celebration happened at the appointed time. It was the consummation and fulfillment of the new covenant promised 40 years before, according to Jesus, who said, "Truly, I tell you, this generation shall not pass away until all this happens. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away." In Hebrew thought, heaven is where God dwells. The earth is where human beings dwell. In the Garden of Eden, God and man dwelt together, which means heaven and earth were together. When sin came, man was laid bare, and a separation happened. To establish this union again, blood was shed, and Adam and Eve received a covering made of animal skin by a sacrifice, which enabled the man to return to communicate with God. With the Old Covenant under Moses, the communication of God of heaven with man of earth took place through sacrifices in the tabernacle. The temple in Jerusalem was the heart of the Old Covenant. This is where heaven and earth met. It was in the most holy place, behind the veil, where the God of the heaven and the man of the earth entered in communion. It is important to understand the living and eternal words of Jesus when he told his disciples, "I tell you, this generation will not pass away, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." This took place in 70 AD, within his generation, the appointed time of the end was upon them. That terrible day of the Lord and judgment was there. The Old Covenant temple, where the connecting place with God called, the heaven and the earth passed away, completely burned and destroyed. It happened exactly as Jesus said, "My words shall not pass away." Yes, his word remains forever. Just after this, the appointed time of Jesus' wedding took place, and the consummation was completed. Now, the heart of the new covenant temple, the living temple, is composed of living stones, as it written. Approach him, living stone, chosen and precious before God, and yourselves, like living stones, are being built up to work in his spiritual temple. You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a redeemed people, so that you can make spiritual offerings that please God through Jesus, the Messiah. All who have been received, and became new creatures, in his new creation, are now his new covenant temple, his new covenant that lasts forever, into eternity. This is this new creation, new heavens, and new earth, with new creatures, as it is written. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation, old things have passed away, behold, all things have become new. This was also the time when Jesus returned to celebrate the union, the new covenant with his bride and reign, as he said, Truly, I say to you, that there are men who are standing here who will not taste death until they will see the Son of Man who comes with his kingdom. He has come into his kingdom and dwells in his living body, which consists of the assembly of believers we call the church. The appointed time of rejoicing has taken place. It was at the time of tabernacles, in Hebrew, Sukkot. As in the parable of the vine dressers, and the parable of the wedding, it was soon after the terrible judgment that the celebrations took place. All appointed times were fulfilled according to God's calendar, when Christ returned and consummated the new covenant at the time of tabernacles, almost 2,000 years ago. In the next video, we will be able to see the New Testament, the New Covenant, and the marriage. We will be able to tell the difference between the betrothed or fiancée, also called the bride, who is now married wife. Shalom.